me tell you, man, anybody who is rejected from a judgeship because of their record of racism, I just think, you know, you really got to be concerned about that. That's really a problem. And in this age when we're trying to bring Americans together of all colors, working people of all colors, I think it's the wrong signal.
All right, well, that was Representative Keith Ellison questioning Senator Sessions' nomination for Attorney General, claiming remarks that he purportedly made over 3 decades ago are disqualifying. Well, now, while Senator Sessions has flatly denied he ever even said such things, Mr. Ellison is ducking his sordid and more recent past with the Nation of Islam. With the Minnesota congressman floating himself as a possible chairman of the DNC, the New York Times came seeking comment, but instead, quote, aides to Mr. Ellison were going to make him available for a telephone interview, but then declined when informed that he would be asked about his past comments on Mr. Farrakhan. Carl Higbee is a Trump supporter. Teslin Figaro is a former campaign staffer for Bernie Sanders. Teslin, I'll go to you first. So why is he able to criticize Senator Sessions for remarks he made purportedly 30 years ago, but then when he is going to be asked about something he said in the past or did in the past, it's not fair game, and he dodges the interview?
Well, you know, I totally agree. I think that everyone should be open, you know, elected officials should be open to answer questions, whether that's Sessions or Ellison. And in fact, you know, I reached out to the Ellison camp myself, and they told me that the reason he did not answer the questions was a logistics issue, that he was on his way on a plane, you know, to Detroit. But
well, we know it's very simple just to provide a statement or a written statement to somebody seeking comment.
Right, and I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, if he was connected to any groups, he should be open to it just as well as, you know, Senator Jeff Sessions as well. You know, but what I would say is I think what the main thing is I think people have automatically assumed that he's going to become the DNC chair. You know, there's grassroots organizers who are suggesting that people like Ohio State Senator Nina Turner be considered. You know, before we just close the casket and say that Ellison is going to be the next pick, I do think it's important that the DNC allows everyone to be vetted, allow everyone to answer questions, and he should answer, to be quite frankly, to be quite honest with you. But then when you know, I'm looking at every day somebody else is a racist, a racist, a racist. When are we going to start talking about job creation? You know, when are these leaders going to start talking about what they're going to do to bring jobs back to America? But let's talk about what the issue at hand. And Representative Ellison, as you heard, was criticizing Jeff Sessions. But then it doesn't seem that his past is at play if he does want to be considered to be the DNC chair.
Right. Here's the other thing, too, is Jeff Sessions, nobody actually has any proof. These are just allegations, and it was 3 decades ago. What concerns me about Mr. Ellison is that he has known papers written in support of Louis Farrakhan. This is the guy who said, not God bless America, GD America. I mean, these are known ties, and like Ms. Figaro said, he's not locked in, but he doesn't have any particular accomplishments that put him ahead of anybody else. So, you know, I'd be anxious to see if they continue to go with the vetting process on him, but I just don't think he's very American if you're going to be supporting someone like Louis Farrakhan.
Okay, so the proof of his past that you just mentioned, do you think, Carl, that should disqualify him to be the DNC chair?
I think it should be up to the people of the Democratic Party. I think they should elect this guy. But, I mean, like, the problem with the Democratic Party recently, and we've seen, is they've put up flawed candidates. They're more anxious to put up somebody who, you know, of race, religion, creed, geographical location, simply in spite of the fact of they might be a flawed candidate. They did this with Hillary Clinton. She was a flawed candidate, but they put her up because she was a woman. This is the Democratic Party. And if they haven't learned anything from this election, they might not have learned anything ever.
And, Teslin, it does seem to remind everybody of the hypocrisy sometimes that we do see in politics.
Well, they didn't put up Clinton because she was a woman. They put up Clinton because they have pretty much tried to run the Democratic Party for the last 20-plus years. They're putting up Congressman Ellison because he's from the Bernie Sanders camp, and people want to move, you know, a little bit further to the left with the progressives. So I think that's someone that they trust. But again, you're absolutely right. They need to vote the person in that they feel is going to move the party forward.
And do you feel that is Representative Ellison?
I think that they need to have a broader selection. It just can't be just Ellison, you know, or 1 or 2 people to choose from, whether it's Howard Dean or whether it's Ellison. And if Congress Ellison does not say that he's going to drain the swamp on the Democratic side, then that's certainly not somebody that I would support. I think that the House needs to be clean from top to bottom. People need to be called out for what it is. We cannot continue to just blame Trump for everything and blame Republicans for everything when they've lost over 900 seats over the last 8 years. So if he's willing to stand up to the establishment, stand up to the status quo, then he might be the the perfect person. But if not, then no, he needs to sit down.
All right. To both of you, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks for being
Thank you.
here.
That was an overly rational segment. Thank you.
All right. Thanks to both of you.